Hi, folks. It's Dina Pacwa of EmbodyTheSacred.net. And today I wanted to share with you a message that I received around the 2016 presidential election and the subsequent um, longer and very profound message that I discovered from the 13 Indigenous grandmothers. And I've shared it with friends and colleagues over the years, and I just shared it with a group of my students this weekend, and we were all really taken with how profound the message was from the grandmothers. And I really think that time is of the essence, that we need to listen to these elders with wisdom from unbroken traditions who really can see the bigger picture of what we are experiencing right now and have very strong advice for how we can move forward and create a better future, despite really the horrific challenges that we're experiencing right now in our country and across the globe. So what started this off was the 2016 election. I was up around 2 o'clock in the morning, probably like a lot of folks, checking my phone, and I saw that Trump had won, and I was really worried and scared for really the most marginalized among us, for what the outcomes of his approach and policies and choices and behavior would be and how that would affect the greater good. I have three planets, a stellium and Aquarius, in my first house. So the core of my essence is really to think of humanity and to think of the greater good, even though some individual people can really piss me off. I really do try to think of, how my decisions and also when we make greater decisions, how they affect others and how they affect the greater good. So anyway, I was up checking my phone. I got really scared initially. And I just said to my guides, being a shamanic practitioner, I defer uh, for greater wisdom a lot of times, not just to elders, but to my own guidance from spirit. And I mean, I'm not always right, but this time it was really profound. And what they said was, I said, you have to explain this to me because I'm really scared, and I know a lot of other people are too. And what can you tell us, about what this means and, what we should do? And so what I heard was that for Hillary, that the witch hunt would be over for her. She would have faced a lot of, as the first woman president, so much adversarial pushback, probably not even just from the opposing party, but from within her own party, having a woman in power. So anyway, we have so much misogyny and sexism still that's very prevalent in our Western culture here in the States. So anyway, she would be free from that and that she could be at peace and that she could move on with her life. So I said, okay, that's all good. Well, what about the rest of us? What are we going to do and what's going to happen? And they said that, well, if Hillary had become president, that it would have been, yes, it would have been change. It would have been a female president. There would have been some positive changes just from that shift alone. And then they said that but it would have been more of the same policy wise. And, the corporate influence in our government, right? I mean, that's really one of the corporate oligarchy. And we're seeing that now. It's like right in front of our face, but it has been that way, right, for over 50 years, that it's been the corporations and the lobbyists and these bigger money interests that have had a lot more say than individual Americans, which is why we're in the situation that we're in. Okay. So they said that by Trump becoming president, that he would be like a jackhammer and he would bring this seedy underbelly of dysfunction to the surface in such a way that, especially white people of privilege would no longer be, none of us would be able to deny like all of this dysfunction and systemic racism and the inequality and just the greed all of these things. It would be so much more obvious. And that we needed that kind of shakeup. And I was like, okay, well, thanks for sharing. Um, it gave me a little bit of peace to just, understand that there was some kind of, seemed like there was some bigger plan going on. And it did mirror a lot of what was going on in the cosmos at the time. And they also said that this is the time of the goddess Kali from the Hindu traditions. She is the destroyer. She has a lot of roles, but that is one of them, is the destroyer of dysfunction, is what I call it. And I am no expert on her attributes, so I would highly recommend checking out Hindu content creators who have much more expertise in terms of what she represents. So I mean no disrespect. Um, so they said, that this is the time of the goddess Kali. So it was meant to be that she would be coming through our president and destroying, bringing to the surface all of these dysfunctional systems, all of the inequality, all of the sexism, racism, all of the dysfunction. It would be much more clearly on display for more of us to see and wake up that this is not what we want. This is not the country we want to create. It's not really the dream of what America has always been, even though it hasn't been what the dream has been for women or for people of color and for our, indigenous traditions, our indigenous tribes. African Americans and Black people. So it's never been what it was proposed to be. But that has always been the dream, and why so many people come from other countries to start over. Like when many of our, my immigrant grandparents came here, they came to escape war and famine and poverty. So, for a dream for a better life. So what they said was, that this is the time of the goddess Kali, and that all of these dysfunctional patterns would be brought to the surface, would be more on display through this president, and that we need to see this and we need to face it. We need to face our history and we need to face these patterns and we need to decide that we want to do something better. Okay. So then, throw COVID inside all of that, and it kicked up so much fear for so many people. The fear is so amplified in the collective right now, and I'm seeing so many people, myself included, with lower back pain, a lot of lower back pain and kidney issues, and all of that is connected to fear. Okay, and it may not be ours, our own fear. So it's good to, look at that and address it through Eastern medicine or through um, Western medicine, whatever fits your particular needs best, or whatever you can afford at this point. So the time of the goddess Kali. So I was like, wow, that's really interesting. So a few days later, of course, like most of us, I'm Googling, like, what is this? So I Googled like the time of Kali, and I came up with this amazing post from, or I didn't come up with it, I came across it, this incredible post from the 13 Indigenous Grandmothers about this very thing. And it was posted a few days after our election, a few days after I got the message from my guide. So I felt so profoundly grateful to have found this, and I am going to share it with you. I'm going to read it to you because I feel like it's very important. And of course, their messages and knowledge are very timely and very important for us. So see what you think. So this is one of their colleagues is asking them. After the election in America, I asked the grandmothers, now that it's over, what can we learn? First, they replied, let us explain some things. You have elected not a man, but a Moy to lead you. He is a boy in an old man's body. Moys are a combination of man and boy, but mostly boy. They are large and have loud voices, so people mistake them for men, but they are not men. A man thinks of the common good, while a Moy has not learned to think. I'm sorry, has not learned to think of anyone but himself. He is not fully developed and is still a child. The time you are living in is called the age of destruction. They said the Kali Yuga. I was like, holy shit, it's a thing. It is the lowest point. Yay for us. At this time, evil rises to the surface to be destroyed. The Dark Age takes place just before the arrival of the incoming Golden Age. So today you are watching out of balance yang energy, creating destruction all over your planet. This is the Kali Yuga, the time of Kali, the goddess Kali. You have heard and read about it, and now it has come. Your country has just elected a Moy to be its next president. Russia, as well as Syria, are already run by Moys, while Africa is overrun by them, each Moy creating havoc in his area of that continent. The Philippines is run by a Moy, and so are several other countries. Is it any wonder the world is lurching from crisis to crisis? This is what is happening on Earth now, and because it is, you must learn to cope with this energy. You cannot reason with it because it is entirely destructive. That's very helpful. You must learn to cope with this energy. You cannot reason with it because it is entirely destructive. Holy crap. Instead, you must hold steady within yourself and observe its wild behavior from a position of power. If you do this, it will not be able to feed on you. Your steadiness will help contain its rapacious energy, and it will not be able to do as much damage as it would otherwise. Okay, so here's where we get the guidance. This is still the time of Kali is a very long time. Okay. Um, it's not going to be over in 5 minutes. This post was from 10 years ago. Here we are again, right? Another cycle of this destructive energy is moving through. So what can we do? Those of us that are in a position to be of service, right? Cultivate that steadiness. This year, 2026, in the tarot is the Wheel of Fortune. We have outer planets moving signs, changing signs. That means it's going to hit the collective in a big way. We have Saturn and Neptune moving into Aries, from Pisces to Aries. Couldn't be more different energies, right? Pisces is expansive, cosmic. It's also illusion and delusion. It's spiritual and psychic. But it can also be like why we feel like we're stuck in this weird place and we don't understand why anything isn't moving or we don't know exactly what to do. You know, Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It's a fire sign. It's about taking action. It's about like, you know, we've sat around long enough. Now we need to do something. And so this time between the end of January, I think it's when Saturn moves into uh, Aries or Neptune. I'm sorry. I have to look that up. But anyway, those two planets are changing signs. And then we have in the Chinese astrology the year of the wood snake, which we are still in until February 17th when we move into the fire horse. So now is a time to shed, release, rest, restore in between taking our initial steps and inspired actions. Okay. And cultivating that steadiness. It's in the Wheel of Fortune card. That is being in the center of the storm, the center of change. Things are going to be changing rapidly around us. Okay, so how we can be of service is to cultivate that steadiness in the eye of the storm. Okay, so here's some more wisdom from the 13 Indigenous Grandmothers. Call on us. Call on the net of light and hold sacred space. Be mindful of who you are. You are a great being here on earth to occupy a steady place in an unsteady world. You can do this. You are not weak and helpless. Within yourself, you carry the great holding power of yin. Call on it now. Live with it. Be as it you were born to be. We ask one more thing of you. At this time, reach out to one another in service. This is very relevant for us right now. This is what we can do. Many are suffering now, more now than they were 10 years ago, more that now than they were a year ago. Okay. Feed the hungry, visit people in hospitals and prisons, provide shoes to those who need them, help the animals. If each of you plunge into one activity of service, together you will do great good. So we can add to that. Um, Protecting vulnerable populations, donating money to causes that can help preserve our democracy, can support human rights, can support women's rights, LGBTQ rights, the rights of people of color, our indigenous populations. So if each of you plunge into one activity of service together, you will do great good, turning many hearts to light. Find a service project for yourself. We ask this of you because we know who you are. You are hands and hearts on earth. You are greatness itself. So we can feel really powerless right now with everything that's going on and the harm that's been done and been caused really globally. And we had people that were so disgusted with our political system that they chose not to vote last time. And here we are. So, for those who chose not to vote because of genocide and wars that are going on overseas, I understand that, but I would also say to you, we have genocides ongoing in this country. The Native people, 90% of their population was wiped out. It's an ongoing genocide. There's a genocide of the African American and Black communities. Systemic racism is genocide. Our country was founded on war, genocide, and enslavement of people. While the dream was always for freedom, religious freedom, personal freedom, the pursuit of happiness, it was only meant for a privileged few. Even though the idea was that it would apply to everyone, we know that it hasn't. In a country where women don't have bodily autonomy, nobody's free. Where we are now completely ignoring the crisis of our environment and the climate, no. But we have, an individual part of this regime now who is, cherry picking, um, changing inoculation schedules, which I don't have any problem with looking at that and seeing what might be best or giving people a choice in that area, even though now we have about 2,000 cases of measles and measles had been eradicated before. Interesting. So we, cherry pick and it's really very easy when you look at things from a logical point of view. And you have to look at the bigger picture. So if you are choosing a regime because you have a one line item that is very important to you, and we all have our values and we all have things that are important to us. So I 100% understand that. But if you're choosing a line item like food dye or seed oils, but you are not considering that, okay, we eliminate some of those things, but we eliminate 32 environmental protections, which now allow businesses and corporations to dump enormous amounts of harmful chemicals and forever chemicals into our water supply and into the land, and to indiscriminately spray even more pesticides and herbicides on food, and that goes into the air and into the soil. How are we really making anyone healthier? Okay. So if the team that you are aligning yourself with is the team that is putting children in zip ties, shooting mothers in the face for voicing their concern about their neighbors, um, is protecting people who have harmed young women and children in various ways on various disgusting islands. This is not the route to go. Evidently, we had to get to this point because these disgusting attributes have been here since day one. Okay, since day one, they have been here. So now we have our marching orders. We have ways that we can help. and you may feel overwhelmed, but just know we can't do everything, right? But we can each do something, especially if we have more privilege. We should use that privilege to speak out, to help those who are having a change of heart and seeing more clearly now that this nightmare was not what they intended and are now looking for support. Okay, so for those of us who can, we need to do. Now is the time for action. We have a few weeks before the change into the fire horse and the changes into all of that Aries energy. So we can use that little bit of time now to recharge, restore, honor the fact that we're in winter. But there's so many different ways that we can help. So we have our marching orders from the grandmothers, which are still relevant today. And I'm going to copy that for you so you can read that under the video. So if you want to refer to it again, that you can find it. Okay, I hope this was helpful, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts. Thanks so much.